I've been using the Apple Watch Series 9 for about 3 weeks now, and being a complete newbie to the Apple Watch world, it definitely felt like an upgrade, putting in mind I switched from a jamming watch of about 3 generations back. In that 3 week period, I've enjoyed features like precision finding, seamless integration with my Apple devices, and also realized the double tap feature that comes with the Series 9 is limited. Sounds like something you'd want to find out? Buckle up and let's go for the ride. First things first, what meets your eyes when you get it out of the box, and that's the design. I chose to go with a 45mm variant, and even though I'm a first time Apple Watch user, I couldn't help but notice the design is what we've seen in at least the past 4 generations, and like most of you guys, a design change on any product, even though not significant, makes us look forward to getting it. That said, I'm definitely not surprised given the fact that Apple's product design process over the years has garnered the reputation of making very subtle changes to their products, and to put it into context, on the iPhones they switched from the notch to the dynamic island, on the 15 Pro lineup a decrease in bezel size, on the MacBooks a size bump in the chassis from a sleek taper design to a chunkier and more robust chassis, removal of the MacBook Pro logo in writing at the base of the screen to having it engraved underneath the chassis, just to name but a few. Nonetheless, I like the sleek minimal design, and for the longest time I've always leaned towards dark colored Apple products apart from my M1 MacBook, and that's why choosing midnight for both the chassis and band was a no-brainer. Speaking of bands, they offer a variety of designs like the magnetic link, the sport and solo loop, just to name but a few. They've also moved away from their leather straps to fine woven, which is already coping some heat because of quality issues. If you'd ask me, the leather cases look good and developed a rich patina over time, but with Apple's carbon neutral venture in effect, third-party suppliers will be our go-to, and I'll definitely be getting one in the famous terracotta colorway. To that effect, let's talk about what I'll be attaching my band to, the chassis. This particular one is made of aluminum, but you can also get the stainless steel variant. As for the colors, they are more on the muted side apart from the product red. When it comes to durability, so far so good, but it's still early days. I'll have a definitive answer at the 6-month mark. Sliding onto the display, the increase in brightness from 1000 to 2000 nits is noticeable, especially for someone like me who came from one of the early versions of the jamming watch. Another slight upgrade in this area was on the opposite end, capping out at only a single nit compared to 2 of the previous Gen Series 8. This will come in clutch when you have always on display on and don't want a bright glare on your face early in the morning. Truth be told, for most people the increase and reduction in nits wouldn't be noticeable. Now, knowing myself very well, it won't be long before I start bumping it into stuff, and considering the fact that I work out, do gardening and my DIY projects with it on my hand, the chances of it getting scratched are very high. That's why I opted to put this screen and scratch protector. While some people might prefer using it naked and in all its glory, I'd rather have it covered and save on the cost of repair. Moving along, underneath this heavily fortified hood is the new S9 SIP, otherwise known as System in Package, which in my opinion is the most significant upgrade on the Apple Watch Series 9, and this is because most of the new features feed off its power. Starting from the most basic of performance metrics like scrolling through the smart stack, opening and closing apps, button response, in general it just feels fast and snappy, but then again, for the average consumer, it will most likely feel like any other Apple Watches from 3 generations ago. The Series 9 is also more power efficient thanks to the S9 SIP, but Apple chose to put this efficiency towards the increase in nits as opposed to a longer battery life, and that would explain why it still stands at 18 hours even with an increase in nits, because normally that would mean more power consumption, but in this case it still functions as usual. The Series 9 also sees an increase in storage capacity from 32 to 64 gigs, which works in tandem with the neural engine that now has double the speed, and when combined we now get faster Siri requests as well as processing the Siri requests without internet connection. Something to note though, at this point there'll only be basic requests like setting up timers, putting in call requests, but once it moves to something that needs a bit of digging on the internet like the weather, general knowledge questions, brace yourself for that moment of silence from Siri. My 2 cents on this, while it's a good step in the right direction, it's still not perfect, but hopefully Apple is going to keep refining it, and as we get the updates in the coming years it will get better. Still on the S9 SIP train, it also comes with the ultra-wideband chip that enables precision finding of your iPhone, and this exactly pinpoints where you left your iPhone as opposed to the pinging sound that was initiated when you click on Find My iPhone. This is another good addition, and just like the on-device Siri request, it will get better with time. Moving along, next up is the double tap feature, and tell you what, it's been getting a lot of buzz, but after 3 weeks I've realized it's a little bit limited, and I'll explain in just a bit. Now, at launch, The only way you could use this feature was through enabling assistive touch in settings, but since the release of watchOS 10.1 developer beta, most people can use it by simply enabling it under gestures. But like mentioned a second ago, it's limited, and that's why I prefer using it the old way by turning on assistive touch in accessibility, and here's why. Once you go into settings and turn it on in gestures, it only gives you the options to play, pause and skip in playback, and that is a command at a time, then either advancing or selecting when it comes to the smart stack, and again, a command at a time, whereas with assistive touch enabled, you can customize it to your heart's content. Case in point, I've customized mine such that a single tap helps me advance to the smart stack or any interface, a double tap takes me back to the previous menu whilst also being able to play and pause music when I wake my watch up by lifting my wrist. Then, I set clenching my fingers to execute actions like starting and stopping a recording or playing and pausing music. An example of that sequence from the watch face would be a double tap to activate assistive touch, then a clench to get in. Once I'm in, a single tap will take me to the song folder. If I'm not keen on jumping in, another tap will take me to the album picture, then rewind, then to the play and pause button. If I want to play, I just clench my fingers, and to get out of the music app, I just double clench. In my opinion, it's a lot more functional, and while it might sound overwhelming at first, once you customize it to your liking, it doesn't take long before it becomes second nature. Trust me, it's a lot better than navigating through a tiny interface, more so if you've got fairly sized fingers like me. Another thing I picked up was there's a slight lag between command and execution. For instance, when a call comes in, after double tapping, on some occasions, there's a slight delay before the call timer starts. Moving along, having spoken about the double tap feature and how to make the most out of it, we might as well talk about how well the Apple Watch Series 9 integrates into the Apple ecosystem. After 3 weeks, I can say so far it's been good, and other than the slight delay with the double tap feature, it syncs well with my apps and Apple Pay works exceptionally well. In essence, my Apple Watch Series 9 has been a powerful extension of my Apple devices, bringing the convenience and functionality of the Apple system to my wrist thanks to its seamless integration that allows for greater control, accessibility, and interconnectedness across my digital life. When it comes to its battery life and charging, it's been lasting me a little over 24 hours, and on most occasions, I've juiced it around midday the following day. Speaking of juicing up, I've enjoyed getting it from 0 to 80% in just 45 minutes, thanks to what Apple calls express charge. As for the battery health, since it's only been 3 weeks, it's too early to call, but hopefully it stays good for a while without any major dips. In conclusion, I'd say the Apple Watch Series 9 represents the culmination of small iterative refinements in the world of smartwatches with its sleek design, impressive new S9 chip, and seamless integration with the Apple ecosystem. Whilst there's a few dark clouds here and there, it's clear that Apple continues to set the standard when it comes to wearable technology. For someone thinking of an upgrade, unless you're a first-time Apple Watch buyer like myself or have a Series 9 or before, buying the Series 9 won't be necessary as the differences are so negligible. With that said, hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and also don't forget to like, subscribe, share and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. To see where I come up with such videos for you guys, check out this video. Until then, people of the internet, I'm signing out. See you on the next one.